You've been mourning a closed door as a failure, but I shut it to save your life. If I had allowed you to walk that path, it would have destroyed the very peace you are praying for. Today, I will reveal why my redirections are the safest way to your purpose. My child, do not move past this message too quickly. Stay with me, because what you are feeling is real, but it is not the whole story. I know how deeply that ending hurt. I know how confusing it felt when something you prayed over, worked toward, or hoped would last suddenly changed shape in your hands. Before this message ends, you will understand why some losses are actually my shelter, why some doors close to protect what is still holy inside you, and how to recognize when a detour is not punishment, but mercy. Listen carefully. What looks like interruption may be the very thing preserving your future. Type "I trust your plan" if you are willing to let me speak into your disappointment tonight. Do not type it because everything makes sense already. Type it because some part of your heart is ready to stop calling every closed door a defeat. You have carried more than anyone knows. You have been stronger than people realize. Outwardly, you kept moving, you kept answering people. You kept functioning, you kept telling yourself to stay grateful, stay faithful, stay patient. But inwardly, you have been trying to make peace with a loss that never fully explained itself. A relationship ended, a job collapsed, a plan unraveled, a door you thought would open stayed shut. And beneath all of that, there has been one aching question. Why did this happen if I was praying? I heard that question. I saw you sitting with that confusion after everyone else moved on. I saw the way your mind kept returning to the same door, the same conversation, the same decision, the same opportunity, the same person. You have replayed it more times than you admit. You keep wondering whether you did something wrong, missed a signal, or failed to hear me correctly. Some of you have even asked whether my silence in that moment meant I approved the pain. Listen to me. Not every loss is destruction. Not every change is abandonment. Not every door that closed was meant to open. Some things feel painful because they mattered to you, but what matters to you and what is safe for you are not always the same. You wanted the door because you could see what it promised. I closed the door because I could see what it would cost. That difference matters. You can only see from where you stand. I see above the clouds. I see what is hidden behind smiles. I see what is growing inside people. I see the motives that have not yet become visible. I see the strain that future path would have placed on your peace, your body, your calling, your children, your faith, your inner steadiness. I see the version of you that would have been slowly drained by what looked like an answer. So yes, it hurt when it closed. Yes, it felt unfair. Yes, it felt late. Yes, it may have embarrassed you. Yes, you may still grieve it. But grief does not mean I was absent. Sometimes grief is simply what love feels like when I rescue you from something you still wanted. Stay with me here. The pain of no is real because you attached hope to that path. You imagined what your life would look like if it worked. You pictured relief. You pictured belonging. You pictured stability. You pictured finally being chosen, finally being secure, finally being seen. When that door shut, it did not only disappoint your plan, it shook your expectation. It made you wonder if anything ahead could still be good. That is why this hurts so deeply. You were not only losing an option, you were losing the story you had already started telling yourself about that option. And when that story collapsed, some of you began calling the collapse a sign that your future had narrowed. But what if the opposite is true? What if that closed door did not shrink your future? What if it cleared it? Pause. Breathe slowly for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, what door am I still grieving as if it was the only way? Name it before me. Do not hide it behind spiritual language. Call it what it is: the relationship, the opportunity, the business plan, the relocation, the friendship, the role, the dream that changed shape. Bring it into the light. I am not asking you to do this so I can shame your attachment. I am asking because clarity begins where honesty stops pretending. There is another part of this you have not seen yet. Some of you are not only grieving the closed door, you are grieving what that door represented: safety, relief, approval, visibility, escape, vindication. That is why letting go has felt so difficult. It was never just about the door, it was about what you hoped it would heal in you. But my child, no door can be your savior. No person can be your peace. No opportunity can carry the weight of your identity. When you place too much hope in one path, the closing of it feels like the closing of everything. That is where many people break. And that is where I want to meet you next. What comes next matters because loss does not only wound your plans, it starts building stories inside you. A loss left uninterpreted will become a lie if you let pain narrate it alone. So stay with me, because now I am going to show you what this disappointment has been doing inside you. You have been interpreting the closed door through the lens of rejection. That is the first pattern I need to expose. Something ended and you immediately assumed it said something about your worth. Something failed and you began asking whether you were not enough. Someone left, and you quietly decided that you must be too difficult, too delayed, too damaged, too invisible, too much, or not enough to be kept. That is not my voice. A closed door is not proof that you were unwanted. A detour is not evidence that you were behind. A divine no is not a statement against your value. But pain has a way of making everything personal. It takes one disappointment and turns it into identity. It takes one delay and turns it into disqualification. It takes one interruption and makes you question everything. I know you have felt that. You have tried to stay mature, but inside you have still wondered, why did this work for them and not for me? Why did this door open for others but not for me? Why did I feel led only for it to end like this? That comparison has quietly deepened your exhaustion. It has made the detour feel like a lesser road. But hear me clearly. My detours are not lesser roads. They are guarded roads. A father stops a child from running into the street. The child cries, but the father rescues them. The child thinks the interruption is cruel because the child cannot see the car. That is what some of my no answers have been. You cried because you could not yet see the collision I saw. You called it delay because you could not see the damage I prevented. You called it loss because you did not yet understand the cost of getting what you wanted too soon or in the wrong form. You are not foolish for grieving, but do not build a theology of abandonment from a moment of protection. There is a second pattern I need to expose. This pain has been tempting you to romanticize the closed door. You keep imagining only the good side of what was lost. You replay what could have been. You revisit the part that looked promising. You keep polishing the memory until the door seems brighter in hindsight than it ever truly was in reality. That is how pain keeps you stuck. It edits out the warning signs. It erases the strain. It ignores the unease. It forgets the compromises you were already making to keep that path alive. Be honest. Was there peace there? Was there integrity there? Was there room for your soul to stay whole there? Or were you already shrinking to fit? Some of you knew something was off long before it ended. You felt the strain. You noticed the mixed signals. You felt the inner unrest. You saw the inconsistency. But you kept hoping it would straighten itself out because you wanted the story to survive. My child, wanting something to work is not the same as something being safe. Type, protect me from what I cannot see if you need that prayer tonight. Let those words become your agreement that my sight is wider than your current ache. The third pattern is more hidden. This disappointment has been making you afraid of new doors. Once something closes painfully, the heart begins protecting itself by expecting more closures. You become hesitant. You become cautious in the wrong way. You say you are discerning, but some of what you call discernment is disappointment still bracing for impact. You hesitate to hope. You hesitate to trust. You hesitate to invest. You hesitate to move when I whisper, because you are afraid another change will tear open the same wound. I understand that fear, but do not leave this word yet. Protection from me is not meant to make you suspicious of your future. It is meant to make you safer inside it. I did not close one door to teach you that nothing good can happen. I closed one door to teach you that not every open path deserves your trust. That is very different. My goal is not to harden you. My goal is to steady you. You are still chosen, even here. You are still being led, even here. You are still being protected, even here. And what broke your expectation did not cancel my hand on your life. It only exposed how much you needed a deeper kind of trust. Now I want to restore that trust by restoring your identity. because you cannot interpret redirection correctly if you still believe every loss reduces your worth. Listen carefully to this part. You are not the one who got passed over. You are not the one who always loses. You are not the one whose life is permanently delayed. You are not the person who keeps missing what everyone else receives. Those are pain-based identities. I do not call you that. I call you carried. I call you guided. I call you remembered. I call you mine. You have been introducing yourself inwardly through your disappointments. That has to stop here. You say, this relationship failed, so maybe I am hard to love. This opportunity fell apart, so maybe I am not capable. This plan changed, so maybe I heard God wrong. But my child, the closing of a door is not the naming of your identity. It is the redirection of your path. Do not let the path speak a name over you that I never gave. You are still loved if it changed. You are still capable if it failed. You are still chosen if it ended. You are still being guided if it did not go as planned. That is the truth pain has been trying to hide. There is another part of this you need. Some of you have confused certainty with faith. You thought faith meant every step would confirm itself immediately, but faith often looks like trusting my character when my strategy is not yet clear. Faith says, I do not understand this loss, but I will not call God unfaithful because of what I cannot yet see. Faith says, I can mourn honestly and still believe there is mercy in this detour. Faith says, I will not let disappointment turn me against the very one who preserved me. That is maturity. That is strength. That is the rebuilding happening in you right now. If this word is strengthening something in your spirit, stay connected here. Subscribe and remain close to these messages, because I am not only comforting you tonight, I am rebuilding your trust one layer at a time, and I want you here for the next words I send. Now let me show you the shift. I am not only closing things, I am making room. Some doors must close because they no longer fit who you are becoming. Some attachments must break because they were built for an older version of you. Some opportunities must be denied because they would have anchored you to a smaller life than the one I am shaping for you. I do not only remove danger, I also remove misfit. This matters because some paths are not evil. They are simply too small. They match the old you, not the emerging you. They would have kept you functional but not free, busy but not aligned, risible but not peaceful, connected but not safe. I am too loving to bless what would slowly pull you away from wholeness. So how do you know when a delay or no is actually protection? Here's the redirection assessment I want you to remember. First, ask, was peace absent even when the possibility looked good? Sometimes your mind liked the idea, but your spirit never fully rested. That matters. Second, ask, was I repeatedly having to force what should have had grace? Protection often looks like repeated resistance. Not every challenge means stop, but not every closed pattern should be overridden either. Third, ask, who was I becoming while trying to keep that door open? Were you growing in peace, honesty, and strength? Or were you becoming anxious, compromising, desperate, exhausted, and less like yourself? Fourth, ask, what danger would I refuse to see if this door had opened? That question may take time, but it matters. Some answers only arrive after distance. Write those down if you need to. Use them when grief clouds your memory. Use them when disappointment tries to make the past look brighter than it was. Use them when you start accusing yourself for a detour I designed as mercy. Can you think of a failure from 5 years ago that you are now thankful for? Pause there. Let your memory search. There is at least one thing you once called loss that you now call protection. A place you almost went, a person you almost kept, a plan that almost happened. At the time you grieved it, now you thank me for it. That memory is not random. It is evidence. It is proof that my no answers are often explained by time. I am moving now. Help is already near. The open door ahead is not a rumor. It is part of my care. But before you can walk through it well, you must stop worshiping the one behind you. This is why I am giving you a daily response, not just a comforting idea. I want to show you what healing trust looks like in practice. For the next 7 days, bring one closed door before me each morning. Name it. Then say, Father, show me what you were protecting, what you were removing, and what you were preparing. Keep it simple. Do not force a dramatic answer. Write down what surfaces with steadiness. Maybe it is a warning sign you ignored. Maybe it is a truth about your own heart. Maybe it is a sense that the path no longer fit. Maybe it is simply the beginning of surrender. Then ask a second question. What does this detour free me to become? That question shifts you from backward grief to forward alignment. Maybe the detour frees you to heal. Maybe it frees you to rest. Maybe it frees you to rebuild integrity. Maybe it frees you to choose differently. Maybe it frees you to stop performing for love. Maybe it frees you to discover that your life is not hanging on one human decision. Then take one practical step that agrees with the new direction. Delete the old thread if it keeps you captive. Stop revisiting the same fantasy. Finish the application for the new opportunity. Set a boundary. Rest your body. Rebuild your routine. Seek wise counsel. Clean the room you have been emotionally living in. Make space. This is not denial. This is stewardship. A closed door is not just something to cry over. It is also something to learn from. Let it teach you the sound of peace. Let it teach you what misalignment feels like. Let it teach you how to trust me when the answer hurts before it heals. Stay with me here. I need to say something tenderly. Some of you are still secretly hoping the very door I closed will reopen exactly as it was. I am not shaming that hope. I am asking you to surrender it. Because sometimes the real healing begins when you stop asking me to restore what only felt right because you were not yet whole enough to see its limits. There is another part of this you have not seen yet. The detour is not only about you. One day, the wisdom you gain here will help someone else avoid a path that nearly broke you. Your redirection will become language. Your healed trust will become testimony. Your discernment will become a shelter for another weary heart. One day you will be able to say, I thought that ending ruined me, but it rescued me. I thought that no delayed my future, but it preserved my peace. I thought I was being denied, but I was being covered. Those words will matter to someone else, still standing in the confusion you are walking through now. That is how I redeem a detour. Not by pretending the loss never hurt. Not by calling pain beautiful too quickly, but by carrying you through it until the meaning becomes clearer than the wound. Final thing, my child. Do not be afraid of the road changing. Be afraid of staying loyal to what I have already closed. Change is not always the enemy. Sometimes it is the vehicle of mercy. Sometimes it is the only way I can separate you from what you would have kept choosing out of fear, familiarity, or longing. The next message I want to bring you will go even deeper into one specific burden many of you still carry: how to stop revisiting doors I already closed. I will show you how to break the cycle of replaying, comparing, and emotionally living in the past. Stay near for that, because it is the next layer of peace I want to give you. Before you leave, type I received the detour if you are ready to stop calling my protection a punishment. Let it be your act of faith tonight. And if you need something to hold on to after this message ends, hold on to this. A closed door is not proof that life is against you. A closed door is not evidence that I forgot you. A closed door is not the burial of your future. A closed door can be my yes to your protection. A closed door can be my yes to your peace. A closed door can be my yes to the version of you I am still preserving. So trust the detour. Trust the road you did not plan. Trust the path that feels slower, cleaner, and more whole. Trust the hand that sees above the clouds. I did not say no to leave you empty. I said no because I have prepared a room that fits the person you are becoming. And when you reach it, you will understand why I loved you enough to redirect you.